If you're over 65, you've probably had that moment. You notice a new blur or maybe a little ache, and you think to yourself, is this just me getting older, or is this something else? Well, today we are going to break down the critical red flags that tell you exactly when to pay attention. And trust me, knowing the difference can be absolutely vision-saving. Wow, this quote really hits home, doesn't it? It's such a powerful reminder of how easy it is to just dismiss things. We blame it on bad lighting or being tired. But that little story we tell ourselves, that can be the single biggest barrier to getting the care we need right when we need it the most. So, what is the core difference here? Well, it's actually surprisingly simple. Think of it like this: normal aging is kind of like a slow fade. It's gradual, it happens over a long time, and it usually affects both of your eyes more or less equally. A potential disease, on the other hand, that's more like a light switch flicking on. It's often sudden, it might only be in one eye, and sometimes it's painful. That's really the fundamental rule to keep in your back pocket. That little phrase, oh, it's just getting older, it feels so reasonable, right? But it is a trap. It gives us permission to ignore symptoms that could be the very first signs of totally treatable diseases like cataracts, glaucoma, or macular degeneration. The real truth is, most permanent vision loss for older adults doesn't come from age itself. Nope, it comes from these diseases that can be managed or even stopped if they're caught early. So to help you avoid that trap, I've got this incredibly practical tool for you. Now, let me be clear, this is not for you to self-diagnose. This is more like a triage helper, a super quick scan to help you decide if a new symptom is just a minor annoyance or if it's something that warrants a same-day call to your doctor. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Something new pops up with your vision, and it's just so hard to know how urgent it really is. Do I wait and see? Do I call now? It can be really confusing. Okay, let's just walk through this scan together. Is there a sudden blur in just one of your eyes? What about a dark curtain or some kind of shadow that seems to be creeping across your vision? Have you noticed a new burst of light, kind of like a camera flash, or a whole shower of new floaters? Big one here. Any eye pain that comes with redness, a headache, or feeling nauseous. Do straight lines, like on a doorframe, suddenly look wavy? And finally, if you have diabetes, any new vision change automatically goes on this list. So you ran the scan, now what? Here's a super simple rule to remember. If you can mentally check off 3 or more of those red flags we just talked about, the advice is crystal clear. Make the call. Same day, don't wait. When symptoms start stacking up like that, the urgency level goes way, way up. All right, now let's put on our detective hats and decode some of these signals a little more deeply. We're going to look at some of the most common and most high-stakes symptoms one by one. This way, you can really learn to read what your eyes might be trying to tell you. Okay, first up, blur. Not all blur is created equal, not by a long shot. A slow blur that's been developing for years in both eyes, that often points to something like cataracts. It's something you need to address, for sure, but it's not usually a siren-blaring emergency. But a sudden blur, one that shows up over just a few hours or a couple of days, especially if it's in one eye, that is a totally different story. If you can circle a date on the calendar and say, that's the day the blur started, that's your cue to act fast. Now let's talk about some of the really dramatic symptoms. That sudden shower of floaters, seeing flashes of light, or that dark curtain coming down over your vision. Here's the tricky part, and it's a really sneaky part. They are often completely painless, and because there's no pain, people ignore them. And that, right there, can be a critical mistake. So these 3 things are the classic textbook signs of a potential retinal tear or even a detachment. A sudden burst of a lot of new floaters. Those flashes of light that look like a camera flash is going off in your peripheral vision. Or that spreading shadow. This is a true race against the clock. Getting immediate medical attention is what can prevent permanent vision loss. Now, a lot of us think of glaucoma as a silent disease, right? Well, this type is anything but silent. Acute angle closure glaucoma is a full-blown medical emergency. The pressure inside your eye just skyrockets, causing intense pain, redness, and even making you feel sick to your stomach. Let me just say, a red, painful eye that comes with nausea is not just a migraine, until a doctor tells you otherwise. Every single hour matters here to prevent permanent damage. Okay, let's shift gears now and talk about the dangers you can't feel. For anyone out there with a chronic condition like diabetes or high blood pressure, this part is so important because significant, irreversible damage can be happening long before you ever notice a single symptom. This is one of the cruelest tricks that diseases like diabetic retinopathy can play. Your vision can seem perfectly fine. You might even have 20/20 vision, all while the tiny, delicate blood vessels in the back of your eye are already being damaged. You can't feel it happening, which is why proactive, regular screening is completely non-negotiable. So what's your defense plan? Well, it's really all about maintenance. Number one, schedule those annual dilated eye exams and treat them like they're gold. Number two, controlling your blood sugar and blood pressure isn't just for your overall health. It's one of the best forms of eye protection there is. And the most important thing? Don't wait for a blur or some other symptom to finally get checked out. Be proactive. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. So now let's pull all of this together into a clear, simple, practical action plan you can use to take control of your eye health and talk effectively with your doctor. So, how often should you actually be getting an exam? This table makes it really simple. And notice, it's based on your risk profile, not on how you feel right now. If you're low risk, meaning you have 0 or maybe 1 risk factor like diabetes or a family history of eye disease, then every 1 to 2 years is probably fine. But if you have 2 or more of those factors, you're in the high-risk group, and you really should be getting checked at least every single year. You know how it is? You finally get that appointment, you're in the exam room, and time is just flying by. Being ready to describe what's going on clearly and quickly can make a huge difference. So what exactly should you say to make every second count? Here it is. This is your 60-second script. Just 4 simple points. 1. When did it start? 2. Which eye is worse, or is it both? 3. Describe how it feels. Is it a blur? Is it pain? Is it a shadow? And 4. Remind them of your key health conditions, like diabetes or high blood pressure. Giving your doctor this info right up front helps them zero in on the problem so much faster. All right, let's wrap all this up with your final empowering call to action. I promise you can do this. First, take just 60 seconds right now and run that red flag scan on yourself. Second, look at that table we showed, figure out your risk group, and then pull out your phone and set a calendar reminder for your next exam. And third, and this one's so important, share just one of these red flag rules with a friend or a family member. It's a simple plan you can literally start today. So we'll end with this thought. Your eyesight is how you experience so much of this beautiful world. It's not a luxury, and you deserve a better explanation for any changes than just getting older. So take a quiet moment and just ask yourself, what is my vision trying to tell me today?